Hello and welcome. I'm Bob Lichter, and I will be interviewing individuals for Kenosha Voices, an oral history project for the Kenosha County Historical Society in conjunction with Kenosha Community Media. I am a member of the Kenosha History Center and have volunteered there since 2015. We hope that you will enjoy these programs. I'm with Betsy and the Well-Known Strangers, local music group from Kenosha. Hello and welcome.
Hello.
Thanks for participating.
Thank you.
Betsy, you're originally from Kenosha?
Yes, I am. Born and raised.
Okay.
Yep.
North side, south side?
Well, I grew up 54th Avenue and what was it? Oh, that's a long time ago.
Okay.
Around Forest Park area. So I went to school at Forest Park Elementary, then McKinley Junior High when we had junior highs, and then I graduated from Bradford here in Kenosha, and then I played softball mostly all my life, and got a scholarship to UW Parkside, and I played there and graduated with a psych degree a little after 2001, 4.5 year. So, yep.
So at some point, something with music caught your attention.
Yes.
Well, how did that all come about?
Well, for me, it was, I think, I was around music my whole life, just listening to records and then eventually CDs. My parents always had music playing in the house. My brother was a singer. He started his own band during his high school career, and kind of watched him go back and forth. He served in the military, and out there he wrote a song, and he came back when he was on leave, one of his vacation times, and he taught me how to play his original song on the guitar, and so that kind of hooked me. I also was a part of the choir in high school at Bradford, part of the Madrigal group, and I think one of the biggest moments for me was sitting in a room with 4 or 5 part harmonies, just filling up the whole space with just voices, and I think that hooked me. But I was pretty impressed by my brother, how he could write a song and, give all his feelings and just kind of, do some basic stuff on the guitar, but still write this beautiful tune. So that was a big influence for me starting to write songs. So,
Were there any teachers that?
Brad Mann was the choir director. I think he's over at maybe Bolin now, or he used to be recently, but he was a huge inspiration too. He's just an amazing guy.
So the group, when did the Well-Known Strangers come about?
2015. Joe tells the story really well. Go ahead. You can pick it up from there.
Joe?
Betsy and I had a mutual friend invite us to play at a wedding together. So we ended up having to sit down and practice. That was in early 2014. So in May of 2014, we got together and played at this wedding. And while we were practicing prior to that, we started talking about things we were working on, projects, her band, my band. We just decided to start working together. So by September of 2014, we started kind of getting together and just writing some music, and it was really something special. Kind of took off from there. And then 2015, John and I were in a cover band together. Scott, he's recently come on, but a lot of us have played in the Racine music area, and whether we played together or just knew each other, there was a lot of people to be able to pull from. But luckily, John and I have known each other a long time. 2015, we started up the band and released our first EP. So it's been great.
And your role in the band is?
Guitar.
Guitar.
Rhythm guitar.
Okay.
I don't even pretend to be a lead guitarist, so I just play acoustic and sit and strum. So, and I do.
You play other things too.
Yeah, I like to believe I can, but and I write a lot of music. Betsy and I, we all write music together, but often Betsy and I kind of kick it off, and then the band just starts to contribute. It's awesome.
Mm-hmm. And Scott, you're?
So I'm newer with the band. I joined in 2021, April of 2021. So I'm as it always happens to be, whatever band I'm in, I'm the third drummer of this band. So it's seems to be a theme for me. So I joined in 2021, and I had known John and Joe for some time, and I knew obviously Betsy from The Voice, and I thought it was a great opportunity, and it worked out really well. My first gig was the Bucks game at a Bucks Heat playoff in front of about 9,500 people. So
Okay, cool.
nice little,
So we
nice
did
little
yeah.
baptism. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you did well. You did real
Well,
well.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
He's been
Yeah.
a great addition to the
And
band.
John, your
Thank you.
role?
I'm the bassist. Yep.
And I happened to be at the concert last week in Paddock Lake, so I didn't know there was going to be a comedy show too.
Don't get him
Comedian,
started.
part-time comedian.
So when did, you went on tour, and did you get a management person at some point?
We did. We had a management team help us out. They hooked us up with quite a bit of things. They're wonderful people. We met. They're based out of Chicago, and we met with them. They loved a couple of our tunes, and they're like, "We'll try to help you out doing some stuff." And we got some pretty good gigs from that. Got exposure. We work with them for 3 years, I think.
Yeah, opening up for some national acts and playing at places like the Chicago White Sox games and House of Blues and Cubby Bear, and toured a couple different locations in the Midwest, as well as trips out to Colorado and various opportunities just to meet all kinds of different artists.
One of the gentlemen that was in the management team actually asked me if I ever thought about trying out for The Voice, and I really never thought about it, but that was kind of his idea, so that's what started that experience.
So then The Voice was what network was that? NBC?
Yeah.
National TV. It was at 2021, 2022?
2019.
18
Oh,
to
no,
19.
was it that one?
Yeah, it
But
was
that,
before
so
COVID.
you became a nationally known person then
In a way.
through
I think.
your competition there, and the judges at that time were
Kelly Clarkson, John Legend, Adam Levine, and Blake Shelton.
Okay.
Shelton. He didn't really have anything to do with me. He's country, so he was like, I don't know what to do with that chick.
He had some nice things to say about you, though.
He did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what was that like? I mean, for Kenosha kid to go on and do that.
Yeah. It's out of this world. Really, it's not really. Even thinking about it now, it's kind of crazy to think that I did that. But it was a process, and it's a long process. And I was worried about leaving the band for that amount of time, hoping that me going out there would give us just a little higher of a platform to be seen around here, so we could kind of break out. I never had the intention of, finding my own record label, or like even getting as far as I did. I was really surprised, but I was happy. I got to be in a couple commercials, and I really wanted to try that out.
All right.
So, but it was wonderful, and everybody there, the production company, the coaches, they're amazing. So I recommend it to anyone.
So then the band got back together, and you've done some really cool things, like playing with the Kenosha Symphony Orchestra at Petrifying Springs in the summer of 2022.
Mm-hmm.
How did that get put together?
How did that start? We were just like, oh, let's try it. And, you start with a phone call, you start with an email, and, you get in touch with the right people. It was a lot of work.
Yeah.
Though there was, the symphony, Kenosha Symphony is uber talented. They really can put on an amazing show. And
Kenosha Parks, I mean, that was,
the park,
they
that's
played,
right.
Matt over there played a huge, wasn't Matt at the time, I forget who it was, but Kenosha Parks played a huge role in getting us together as well.
We had a show at Pets, and then
Yeah.
we started talking about, well, what about let's maybe do a symphony thing. And yeah, that's when it sparked from when we got rained out on. We got like a downpour.
Yeah, we didn't get
Remember
rained
that.
out, but we got rained on.
Yeah. It was that was a dream for us to, since we have a cellist in the band, and often when we record we layer a number of cellos, tracks and instruments to have that symphony, that orchestra sound, and to actually play with 54 instruments, 54-piece orchestra was unbelievable. So it was a dream, one of several dreams come true for us. So we've been quite blessed.
We had to write the scores to it, not me, but Joe had his hand in it. We had a couple other people from the symphony. Our current cellist now, Cameron Fair, he wrote one or two, but that was all us, and that took a long time, and I was so impressed by that work because I would never be able to know how to do that, and to have it just come to life right in front of us was absolutely amazing.
Did somebody conduct the whole process?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
There was a guest
Chris-
conductor.
Chris's last name, I forget Chris's last name, but he was a guest conductor for the Kenosha Symphony, came in, worked with us closely on some of the scores, made sure the staffings were correct. Like she said, we worked with some external people like Max Filer, who's a musician in the area, and a friend of yours, Lisa,
Yep.
did a
Lisa
couple
Creason.
scores. Yeah, so we tied into a couple people to help us with 10 songs, and it was a wonderfully attended event, and it was just amazing opportunity. So we hope to do that again.
Yeah, one of the most amazing things was when we practiced at Kemper Hall in that gym area. The orchestra was facing us, so we could see everyone. This was before, obviously before the performance. And we're up on the stage, and we start playing the first song, which is aligned, and to hear 52-piece orchestra come back at you at the same time with your music was just phenomenal.
Amazing.
Never forget
A lot
that
of wet
moment.
eyes, that's
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
That was hard to get through that first
Yeah.
one. Keep it together.
Well, hope that happens again.
We do too.
I think it will.
I think it will, yeah.
So, I mean, you've had so many other experiences, like a tour of Scotland. When did that happen?
That was last year as well. We went over there right on the 4th of July. We ended up playing like 13 shows in 14 days. Ended up mostly in Scotland, but did take a little detour to England for a show as well. But that was a thrill. We were really out there for the Tiree Music Festival, which is the Isle of Tiree. It's like a 4-hour ferry ride off the west coast of Ireland, and we thought since we're going over there for that 4-day festival, we might as well drive around Scotland and try and get some other shows in.
Play as much as we can.
How was that scheduled? Did your management team schedule that, book the shows?
It was really Vic, Sarah, our tour manager, Victor, and I put together the schedule, and along with Jay McAuliffe over at McAuliffe's Pub in Racine, we all kind of worked together. We all played roles in getting things scheduled. So yeah, then got a couple of vehicles, we had some help with equipment and vehicles from the Red Hot Chili Pipers over there, as well as Scaryvore, and just went from there.
Yeah,
White knuckle driving and
group
Yeah.
effort.
Well, I was told they drive on we drive on the right side of the road, they drive on the correct
side of the road. That's right. They mentioned that a few times.
So, what about technology? And since 2015, even a lot has changed. But you think of the way music was listened to, performed, listened to, recorded, sold over the last several decades, from records to cassettes to CDs to digital, back to vinyl a little bit. What's that like for you now? Because you have albums out there. How did you
Correct.
do the recording, or?
I mean, everything's morphed substantially, just even since 2015, significantly. the industry has completely changed, especially since COVID as well. It seems like you go back to 15 and you can almost talk about every year and how things have changed. So we used to go into a studio, rent some time, or pay for X amount of songs and go into a studio like Renwood and Kenosha, or we'd go up to Milwaukee. Now after COVID, there's so much home recording going on with the software, the amazing plugins and everything else that you can do right on your computer. So much of it is done at home, which is what we're doing right now, is we're recording and then we send it off to have it professionally mixed and edited. So it's been, along with, you know, the CDs and then go into streaming. And then streaming, it's interesting, vinyls, for the first time last year, vinyls sold more than had more sales than CDs did. It's interesting how everything kind of
Back to the basics.
yeah, kind of back to the basics.
So you did mention COVID. We had the 2020 through 2021 COVID pandemic. So how did that affect a band, performing musicians?
Significantly. Yeah.
Quite a bit.
It was horrible timing.
It was really bad timing.
Because we were just coming off Betsy on The Voice. So we had to hold off on a lot of performances that year. And so this was our first full booking year. And we had some great shows lined up. And all of a sudden we had a bus trip lined up to Milwaukee at Rock Country.
Yeah.
And we had to cancel a week before, and everything shut down and the world changed.
That was it. It really went on pause until the end of 21 when we kind of kicked it back up.
Well, it delayed Scotland. It
Delayed Scotland.
It delayed
Right,
the
that year.
Melissa
Like twice.
Etheridge
Wasn't it twice?
cruise.
That's right. Yeah, both Melissa Etheridge Cruise and
Yeah.
Terry Festival were a year.
What was that, the Melissa Etheridge Cruise?
Yeah, that was right. Was that
Both?
right? Okay, so
That was
we
November
went.
of 21.
It was Melissa Etheridge cruise, then Scotland. Right? Did I get that?
Yep.
Okay.
November.
Really crazy year.
that-
So
Then
we
the Symphony, then Mile of
then
Music,
the
right?
symphony,
Yeah.
then Mile of
It was
Music.
a great-
So we entered a contest. I just was like sitting at the computer going, this looks really neat. And I had on my bucket list to play on a boat, just any boat. It could have been a canoe or whatever. I just loved the idea.
do that.
So I was like, why not this boat? And I love Melissa Etheridge. You know, she's some of the people who were playing on that cruise were some of my favorites. And we entered the contest, and she picked 3 bands, and we were one of them. So we played 3 shows, and we got to go to all of the shows that were available. You know, Melissa was kind of just bopping around. You never knew when she was going to show up, and we saw KT Tunstall
Nancy
perform.
Wilson
She
from
was one of,
Heart,
yeah.
We pulled out of Miami and we went to Jamaica and Bahamas and made a lot of friends.
Yeah.
A lot of friends.
Kathy
a lot of new
Richardson,
fans.
Yeah,
It
that was
really
crazy.
was great, but that kind of kicked up this run recently. It's been a lot of fun.
So what about that songwriting? I mean that I think that makes you unique around here. You know, you mentioned playing in cover bands, and but a group that pretty much most of your songs you play live are originals, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, just a handful
Everybody
of covers. Yes,
takes part
handful
in
of
that.
covers.
It's kind of a tough area to be an original band. It's not that there aren't people that accept it, but if you go up to Appleton or some other cities, they're really looking for original bands. Where around here, it's cover bands really active, so a lot of the festivals and everything. So as an original band, it's hard to kind of break through the cover band layer or whatever you want to call it, the cloud. But songwriting's been great for us. We usually start out with a snippet from one of us, a little guitar riff, or she's got something that she came up with on the uke, or vocally, or John's got something, or Scott. It doesn't matter, and then kind of all just take it from there. Get together over in front of a computer and just track it, see where it goes. She writes all the lyrics, which is great because not only is she really great at it, but she can also then sing it because they're her words. versus us handing over words. That's at least how I always try to say it.
Yeah,
It adds a lot of energy and
Right on.
passion from her heart versus, oh, here's some lyrics I wrote. Plus, when I write them, it's like, in the tie in the sky with the guy in the, I'm trying to rhyme like that, and it's just terrible.
And we'll every once in a while go to a Airbnb for the weekend and do some specific writing and some specific practicing around the new songs that we're doing, and it kind of helps shape the song and helps really bring it into focus. And then we'll record that and then bring it into Joe's computer system that we can follow the track along with there, and then it's just that much easier to contribute as a player to the song and make it a nice final piece.
Okay. So Betsy talked about her, original introduction to music. How about Joe and Scott and John? You mentioned playing in cover bands. Did you get hooked back in the school days, or how did that work?
I mean, for me, it started with my parents. I mean, she mentioned having music around her house all the time. So my parents had 45s. We were just talking about that. So it was Jim Croce and all these different 45s just sitting there, and I'd plop them on at 4 years old. My dad had Lawrence Welk on, and then all of a sudden my mom said, let's put you in piano. So I took 2 years of piano, which really kind of got me hooked from there, and then I turned to drums, eventually guitar, and that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
Scott?
Same parents. My dad was a barbershop quartet singer, and he had 2 weeks of vacation. One we'd go up north, the other one he'd go in whatever city, Seattle, Washington, D.C., and sing with the chorus. And so then he put us in what's called the Little Shavers. So my first experience of performing was when I'm 4 years old at Memorial Hall in front of a full house, and we sang a song and everyone started clapping, and it's just like, wow.
The Little Shavers.
Little Shavers, yeah.
That's clever.
So, and then we just went from there, and my brother was in a band. I had older sisters that listened to Beatles. We had a grand piano in the house. My mom and dad both played. It was just always music.
Yeah, my parents, we got a stereo for Christmas one year, and I was listening to like Michael Jackson, Billy Joel, Al Stewart, like some stuff that you really wouldn't think that I'd be into. But then I got into harder rock. My friend had a drum set down the block, and I always thought it'd be cool if we could put a band together. I got a guitar for $25 and an amp for $25, so $50 investment. We had the start of our band in the basement, and played in several cover bands in high school, and actually Joe and I knew each other in grade school and high school, and eventually we hooked up in that cover band in the early 2010s.
Mm-hmm.
What was the name of your first band?
First band, I can't even remember the first one, but the one that played the most was The Illusion.
Yeah, and we were class act. We were both from St. Cat's, graduated at St. Cat's, so his band was active while my band was active at St. Cat's, and we'd play all around the city.
Yep.
It was fun. Little competing bands, but we knew each other.
We were playing at a Battle of the Bands at St. Cat's, and one of the other singers, Andy Miller from the other band, said, what's your name? And we said, we don't have one yet. And he goes, it's all an illusion. And so we went with that. Went on stage. We're The Illusion.
That's St. Catherine's High School in Racine.
Yep.
That's right.
That's just to mention one thing about the music scene in Kenosha. It's just a wonderfully supportive group of individuals where, we know that someone's playing out, we'll go see them, and likewise, we're very supportive of each other, and just because I think we are all kind of grinding. We love to do it. We love to perform. We always hope for next level stuff, but so long as venues are open to having live music, and which you can't get away from it around here, which is an amazing feature of Kenosha, people will come and play. And there's so many bands around here.
2023, I think any night of the week you can find
Any night of the
Something
week.
on
live music, open mic nights,
Mm-hmm.
open jams, whatever. You
Yeah.
know. And I think the art scene in general in Kenosha, Kenosha's changed in a huge way over the last decade or two, especially
Yeah.
with coming from the industrial history to more of a place where people just come from all over, a tourist. I mean, tourism in Kenosha has grown tremendously.
Yeah.
The harbor, the lakefront, the downtown, that's kind of revitalized over the last 20 years. I used to work down the street here at Jockey for 20 years, so I
Oh.
was there in the early 1990s.
As doing what you do, are there any effect on your work, local, national, world events? Does anything affect you in that way?
World events.
Yeah, local, national, world events.
Pretty much. I mean, I there's so many different things that impact us, and we can write based on that. Often we do, or we write
we are,
personally,
yeah.
which we do write about as well. I mean, there's even locally, just go down to the family level. I mean, but yeah, anytime there's something serious in the world going on.
Yeah.
Voices?
Voices, the fight against human trafficking, which we really participated heavily in that. We just wrote a song recently called I Don't Owe You, which is about, just in general, people being able to be who they want to be, and
Supporting the
supporting
LGBTQ.
the LGBTQ.
I've heard that.
Yeah.
And then I'm a vet, so being able to support vets and things like that. I mean, it's all been really great. We're all very supportive of each other.
And you do a lot of, I don't know if you call it charity work, or do a lot for a lot of people, too.
Yes.
That's a
I've
big
heard
part
that.
of us,
Yeah.
yes. I think just the show that you mentioned out on Paddock Lake where they have the new pavilion that they put up, that was a wonderful event, and it brings a bunch of people together, maybe people who may not have come together without, this particular event or particular band or whatever. But I don't think we'll ever stop doing that. I mean, we have a certain amount that we'll do at little to no cost, just because this is what we can offer. We can offer our music, but we have to kind of regulate that, unfortunately, just because we want a sustainable situation so that we can afford the things in the future, our plans and things like that. But that will never ever stop. That's a big part of our guts.
We just kind of go with it sometimes. Even during COVID, you and I would go sit outside of nursing homes.
Right, that
Where
we did
people
that.
kind of get out. We'd sit outside and people would open the windows and we'd just play music, set up an amp. I mean, just because music just moves people's hearts, gets them positive feel, just the energy is strong, and certainly moves us.
Yeah.
We did some live streaming benefits during COVID too.
That's right.
Well, so what's the best part? What's the best part of what you do
These guys for me.
Yeah.
as a group? Just
These
Yeah.
guys.
When it's all clicking and you're on stage, like last Thursday was amazing. That's why we do it.
Yeah, we love the van rides too. We all get along pretty well, and we have a lot of fun together. And Scott had mentioned going out and just having a songwriting weekend. That's not only good for our music, but it's good for us as a group to just keep that bond, keep the communication going. And I think we're all of like mind, what we want out of this career, and how to do it the right way, where we're still focusing on our moral compass, and we are who we always have been, and we want to continue to be those kind of people. So
okay. All right. On behalf of the Kenosha History Center and Kenosha Community Media, thank you very much for participating in the Kenosha Voices program.
thank you so much for
It's a
having us.
pleasure. Thank
for
you.
having us.
Good luck.
Thanks.
with it.
Stuck in the past, all the lies you knew wouldn't take you. It's just waiting